There are moments when you think you're making a calm, logical choice, but quietly, your brain may have already set the trap. That sounds strange, but it happens more often than we want to admit. Most of us like to believe we are clear-minded, fair, brave, reasonable. We think that if something serious happens, we'll do the right thing, we'll speak up, we'll help, we'll make the smart choice. But in real life, the brain does not always work that cleanly. Sometimes, good people stay silent. Smart people choose the worse option. Innocent people get punished for telling the truth. And sometimes, online silence hurts more than a direct insult, because your mind starts filling in the blanks. In this video, Hidden Health Science will walk through 8 psychological paradoxes that reveal something uncomfortable about human behavior, not to shame anyone, but to help you notice the hidden patterns before they control you. Number 8. Someone else will call. Imagine this. The power goes out in a whole apartment building, not just one room, the entire building. Lights off, elevators stopped, hallways dark, and every person inside thinks the same thing. Someone probably already called the building manager. That sounds reasonable, right? But now picture 200 people thinking that at the same time. Everyone waits. Everyone assumes someone else handled it. And somehow, the manager's phone never rings. This is called the bystander effect. The more people see a problem, the less responsible each person feels. It is strange, but it is very human. Responsibility gets spread out so thin that nobody feels like it belongs to them anymore. You see this in real life all the time. Someone falls in public. A car breaks down. A person looks sick. A problem happens at work. And people look around first before they act. Not because they are cruel. Most are not. They are waiting for a signal. They are trying to figure out, is this my job? Is someone else already doing it? That is where the danger is. When a problem belongs to everybody, it often ends up belonging to nobody. So the practical lesson is simple. Do not say, somebody call for help. Say, you, in the blue shirt, call 911 now. Or, Sarah, call the building manager. The second responsibility has a name attached to it. People move. The fog clears. The person knows, this is on me. That one small change can save time. And in a real emergency, time matters. So if you ever see a serious problem, do not wait for the crowd to become brave. Pick one person, give one clear instruction, because sometimes the difference between action and silence is just one name. Number 7. Always switch the door. Picture yourself on a game show. There are 3 doors in front of you. Behind one door is a brand new car. Behind the other 2 doors are goats. You pick door number 1. Then the host, who already knows what is behind every door, opens door number 3. There is a goat behind it. Now he looks at you and asks, do you want to switch to door number 2? Most people feel the same thing right away. Well, there are 2 doors left. So it must be 5,050 now. That feels right. But it is wrong. Your first pick only had a 1 in 3 chance of being the car. That part never changes. So the other unopened door carries the bigger chance. If you switch, your odds go from 1 in 3 to 2 in 3. It still feels weird, doesn't it? That is the point. Your brain likes simple patterns. It sees 2 closed doors and says, equal chance. But the host's action was not random. He knew where the goat was. That extra information changes everything. This is why the Monty Hall problem became so famous. It makes smart people angry because the correct answer does not feel correct. And that is the real lesson. Your gut is useful, but it is not perfect. Sometimes it gives you a fast answer that only sounds true. We do this in everyday life too. We judge risks too quickly. We think a choice is fair just because it looks balanced. We trust the first answer because it feels clean and simple. But some decisions need more than a feeling. They need numbers. They need context. They need you to slow down for a second and ask, what information am I missing? Because the answer that feels obvious is not always the answer that is right. Number 6. The hedgehog problem. This one is about relationships. And honestly, it feels a little too real. Imagine a group of hedgehogs on a freezing night. They move close to each other because they need warmth. But the closer they get, the more their spikes hurt each other. So they pull away. Then they get cold again. Then they move closer again. And the whole thing repeats. That is the problem. They need closeness, but closeness comes with pain. People do this too. We want to be understood. We want someone to know us deeply. We want real connection, not just small talk and polite smiles. But the closer someone gets, the more power they have to hurt us. A stranger's opinion might sting for a minute, but one careless sentence from someone you love can stay in your chest for years. So, we protect ourselves. We joke when things get too serious. We reply with haha, yeah, when we really want to say, I miss you. We change the subject. We go quiet. We act like we do not care, because caring out loud feels risky. And that does not always mean love is missing. Sometimes, it means people are scared. Scared of needing too much. Scared of being rejected. Scared that if they show the real feeling, the other person will not know what to do with it. That is why relationships can feel so confusing. One person moves closer, the other pulls back. Then the first person feels unwanted. Then both people start protecting themselves. But the real issue may not be a lack of love. It may be that both people are still trying to find the right distance, close enough to feel warmth, but not so close that they keep hurting each other. Number 5. Why people betray each other. This one sounds cold at first. 2 suspects get arrested. The police put them in separate rooms. They cannot talk to each other. Then each person gets the same offer. If you betray your partner, you can go free, and they get the heavier punishment. If you both stay quiet, both of you get a lighter punishment. But if both of you betray each other, both of you still get punished. Now, here is the problem. The best outcome for both people is simple. Stay quiet. Trust each other. Take the smaller hit. But inside each person's head, fear starts talking. What if he betrays me first? If I stay loyal and he talks, I lose. If I talk first, at least I protect myself. So both people make what feels like the safe choice. They betray. And because both of them do it, both end up worse than if they had trusted each other. That is the prisoner's dilemma. 2 smart people can make logical choices and still create a stupid result together. You see this outside of crime stories too. At work, everyone waits for someone else to start the hard task. In a friendship, one person stops reaching out because they think the other person should text first. In families, people hold back apologies because they do not want to look weak. Everybody protects themselves, and somehow, everybody loses. But there is a hopeful side. When people know they will see each other again, cooperation starts to matter more. Trust becomes useful. Your reputation follows you. That is why the best rule is not blind trust. It is this. Start with trust, then watch what people do. Be fair first. Be open first. But do not ignore patterns. Because betrayal works best when there is no tomorrow. But in real life, there usually is. Number 4. Punished for being innocent. This one is hard to sit with. Imagine being accused of something you did not do. Not something small. A serious crime. You keep telling the truth. You say, I didn't do this. You refuse to confess because confessing would be a lie. That sounds like the right thing to do. But in some systems, that honesty can actually hurt you. Here is the trap. When a guilty person admits what they did, shows remorse, and says they have changed, the system may reward that. They might get a lighter sentence. They might get parole sooner. On paper, that makes sense. But what happens to an innocent person? They cannot honestly show remorse for a crime they did not commit. They cannot say, I've learned from what I did, because they did not do it. So they keep saying, I'm innocent. And sometimes the system reads that as denial. Not truth, not courage, denial. That is the innocent prisoner's dilemma. The guilty person who plays along may go home earlier. The innocent person who refuses to lie may stay locked up longer. Stephen Downing's case shows how painful this can become. He was convicted of murder in England in 1974. He refused to admit guilt. Because of that, he was seen as in denial. He spent 27 years in prison before his conviction was finally overturned. Think about that. His honesty cost him decades. That is what makes this paradox so disturbing. A system built to reward honesty can end up punishing the person who is telling the truth. And the lesson is uncomfortable. Not every system is automatically fair. Sometimes, once people decide you are guilty, even your truth gets twisted into more evidence against you. That does not mean truth is worthless. But it does mean we should be careful before trusting a process just because it looks official. Because sometimes the hardest thing is not proving you are right. It is proving you are honest to people who already decided you are lying. Number 3. What does silence mean? This one hits hard if you have ever posted something online. You write a comment, share an idea, upload a video, ask a real question. Maybe you even spend time making it thoughtful. Then nothing happens. No replies, no likes, no reaction at all. And suddenly your mind starts working against you. Was it bad? Did people think it was stupid? Did anyone even care? That is the strange thing about silence online. It can mean almost anything. Maybe your post was so clear that nobody had anything to add. Maybe people agreed but did not feel the need to say it. Maybe nobody saw it. Maybe they did not understand it. Or maybe they simply kept scrolling. 5 different meanings, 1 identical signal, silence, and the brain hates that. When there is missing information, the mind does not leave it empty. It fills the gap. And usually, it fills it with the harshest explanation. That is why silence can feel worse than criticism. At least, criticism gives you something solid. Silence gives you a blank space, and your insecurity starts writing the story. This is also why the internet rewards loud content. A calm, useful post may get ignored, but something shocking, angry, or controversial gets comments right away. Even if people hate it, they still react, so creators learn fast. Quiet quality is hard to measure. Outrage is easy to measure. That does not mean silence always equals failure. It often does not. Sometimes people are watching. Sometimes they are thinking. Sometimes your work reached someone who never said a word. So do not let silence become a verdict in your head. Silence is not proof that you failed. It is just an unclear signal. And unclear signals should not be allowed to define your worth. Number 2. Morton's fork. This is the trap where every choice you make gets used against you. Let's say someone at work decides you are lazy. Now watch how unfair it gets. If you leave at 5, they say, "See? Lazy." If you stay late, they say, "He's only doing that because people noticed he was lazy." So what are you supposed to do? Leave on time. You lose. Work late? You still lose. That is Morton's fork. It is when 2 different choices are presented like they are fair options, but both are already set up to prove the same conclusion. You see this all the time. If you stay quiet, people say you are hiding something. If you explain yourself, they say you are being defensive. If someone texts back fast, they are too needy. If they text back slow, they are playing games. No matter what happens, the answer was already decided before the evidence showed up. And that is what makes it so frustrating. You think you are in a conversation, but you are not. You are inside a trap that was built to make you wrong. The big warning sign is this. Could anything change this person's mind? If the honest answer is no, then do not waste your energy trying to prove yourself inside their rules. Because the problem is not your explanation. The problem is the frame. Sometimes the strongest move is not arguing better. It is stepping back and saying, "This is not a real choice." You do not have to pick between 2 bad options just because someone handed them to you. You can refuse the fork. Number 1. The trolley problem. This is the one that makes people question themselves. Imagine a runaway trolley is heading toward 5 people on the track. You are standing next to a lever. If you do nothing, 5 people die. If you pull the lever, the trolley moves to another track, where 1 person dies instead. Most people say they would pull the lever. It feels painful, but the math is clear. Save 5 lives, lose 1. You might not feel good about it, but you can explain it. Now, change the situation. Same trolley, same 5 people, but this time, there is no lever. You are standing on a bridge next to a large man. If you push him onto the track, his body stops the trolley, and the 5 people live. The math is the same. One dies, five survive. But now most people say, no, I could never do that. And that is where the paradox appears. The numbers did not change, but you did. Pulling a lever feels distant. It feels like making a hard decision from the outside. But pushing a person with your own hands feels completely different. Suddenly, your emotions are not quiet anymore. They are loud. This shows something uncomfortable about morality. We like to believe we have one clear set of values. We think we know what we would do. We think our principles are solid. But often, our morality is split. One part of us calculates outcomes. Another part reacts to closeness, touch, guilt, fear, and responsibility. And the closer we are to the harm, the harder it becomes to hide behind logic. That is why these questions are not just philosophy games. Real people deal with versions of this. Doctors, judges, soldiers, engineers building self-driving cars. They all face choices where every option has a cost. The lesson is not that you are a bad person. It is that your values may be more complicated than you think. It is easy to be certain from far away. It is much harder when your own hands are near the consequence. So what do these 8 paradoxes really show us? Not that people are stupid. That is too easy. What they show is that the human brain has layers. One part of you wants to be right. One part wants to stay safe. One part wants to be accepted. And one part really does not want to be responsible when things go wrong. That is why we do not always act the way we think we would. In a crowd, we may wait for someone else to move first. With numbers, we may trust a feeling that is completely wrong. In relationships, we may want closeness, but still protect ourselves from being hurt. Online, we may treat silence like a judgment, even when we do not know what it means. And in moral choices, we may feel certain from far away, then change when the consequences get close. That is not weakness. That is being human. But once you can see these patterns, they have less control over you. So, call on one person when help is needed. Check the facts before trusting your gut. Build trust through repeated actions. Step away from arguments where every answer is already twisted against you. And do not let silence decide your worth. If you enjoy this kind of deep look into human behavior, subscribe to Hidden Health Science. And tell me in the comments, which paradox felt the most familiar to you? Share this with someone who thinks they always make perfectly logical decisions.